I'm so excited for today's tour. Today I am joining you from arguably one of London's best townhouses. It's got 5 floors, 6,000 square feet, and it's just a stone's throw from Hyde Park. I cannot wait to show you around. Our clients got in touch with us 9 months ago and asked us to completely redecorate this entire townhouse, and we had a very short deadline to do it. The house had been refurbished just before our clients bought it, but it wasn't to their taste, so they engaged us to update the interiors, make it uber luxurious, and furnish it exactly to their style. So come and join me while I take you around. I feel very lucky that UFO3 by Foreo Sweden have partnered with us once again to sponsor today's video. If you haven't heard of the UFO3, it is a deep hydration skincare device, and I've been using this for nearly 12 months and I've noticed a huge difference in my skin, and it's become a firm favourite of my skincare routine. How it works is you can get multiple different types of sheet masks that they also sell. Today I'm going to use the green tea sheet mask. You literally just clip that in at the top, and then you can select, using the universal button on the front, you can tap that, and every time you tap that it will take you to one of the different treatments that are pre-programmed into the UFO3. So I'm going to use the treatment that has the red light, the red LED light, and this also has a warming setting and a T-sonic. And then you just literally just do gentle circular motions across your face for the duration of the treatment, which takes 90 seconds. And in the 12 months, or the almost 12 months that I've been using it, I've noticed a big difference in my skin. I think it looks a lot more glowy, it feels more hydrated, and I think the extra moisture in my skin's helping reduce the appearance of wrinkles. So that is a big win in my opinion. If you would like to try the UFO3 for yourself, or maybe one of your loved ones, now is a good time to try it because it's very rarely discounted. But UFO3 by Foreo Sweden have shared a link which I've put in the description box, which will get you 30% off.
The first 50 customers will get an extra 11% off using the code SOPHIE11. And if that hasn't tempted you enough, it is also Foreo's birthday, so you can enter their giveaway for the chance to win a free product.
So I hope you love it if you try it. I've had such great results. Let me know in the comments below how you get on with it. And thank you to UFO3 by Foreo Sweden for sponsoring today's video. This project's quite unusual in the fact that it wasn't a complete refurbishment for us. So we've retained some elements of the previous refurbishment, including the flooring, the bathrooms and some joinery, but we've made lots of updates throughout. Our client really wanted us to ramp up the luxury in here. So we're starting off in the entrance hall, and this really sets the tone for the whole property. It's very timeless, very classic and very grand. Things that we did in here is we updated the lighting. This is one of my favorite light pendants from Jam. And I really wanted to create a moment here as you walk through the double front doors that you just pause and you can gather your thoughts before you move through to the rest of the house. So we've done a small pedestal table, and this particular table is an antique, and this was again something that the client was really keen to do, involve lots of antiques into the scheme, and we've combined that throughout with some contemporary furnishings as well. So behind me here we have this design that we have designed in-house. It's similar to one that we've used in the Gulf. We've just changed the colour of the timber slightly. And this has got a slightly more practical application because we're always balancing luxury with practicality. You can see in here we've got lots of shoe shelves. There's plenty of storage. As soon as the guests come in, they can take their shoes off before entering the rest of the house. I absolutely love this mother of pearl finish that we've done on the doors as well. The layering in this project was really important. The client wanted it to feel very heavily layered, very fully dressed, and so we've done all of the artwork and all of the accessories throughout. Some of my favourite pieces in here include these prints that are limited edition that we have above this unit, and we're always trying to make sure that we're considering small details like the fact that the frames match the timber on this piece of furniture. And then if we pan around here, you can see this is one of our oak leaf pieces of art from the Fremental collection. We're actually very close to one of London's parks here, just a stone's throw away, and so we really wanted to bring that feeling of nature into the home. So you'll notice throughout there's a lot of colour schemes that are inspired by nature and a lot of natural motifs. Off to the side of the entrance hall, you walk through these huge double doors and you have the reception room. This is the grandest and most impressive room in the whole house, and I absolutely love how it's turned out. Our client loves to entertain in large scale, and so their main request from us was that we maximise seating in this room. Normally, when you're designing a room like this, where you have a big feature like the fireplace behind me, I would like to do symmetry on the furniture layout in front of this. That would be 2 sofas opposite each other with maybe some armchairs as you walk in. But that really wouldn't have fulfilled our client's request of maximising seating. So here I've broken away from the symmetry and I've done a beautiful curved sofa that fills this bay window at the front of the property and really expands that whole seating area and allowed us to fill a lot more seating into this room. Some of my favourite features in here include the wallpaper. Try not to knock the candle over. We've added this beautiful silk wallpaper in a kind of truffle colour, and I just love silk wallpaper in a drawing room because it really gives that cocooning, luxurious feel that we really wanted to create here. And it's a beautiful colour against the lighter joinery. All this joinery was existing when the client first showed us this property, but it was in a very orangey colour. You can see the colour on the floor because it was the exact same colour as the timber that we have on the floor. And whilst I was happy to retain it on the floor because I think it adds some beautiful warmth and it's a beautiful quality flooring, I felt that it was too much on the joinery as well. So what we did here was we watered down a paint and we had a decorator refinish all the joinery, and then we've added this beautiful Calicatta Oro at the back. You can see we picked one that picks out those beautiful olive green tones that we've got in some of the fabrics and furnishings, and that's really elevated that whole wall and I think it looks beautiful now. One key aspect that makes this layout and this room successful is the fact that we've mixed up all the types of upholstery and seating so it doesn't become too repetitive. So we've got the curved sofa in the bay window, we have this small traditional armchair next to the fireplace. As you walk in, you can see we've got these very ornate, beautiful benches, stools, and these are a design that we've created for Loom Furniture, so these will be launching later this year. And what I think works with these is the fact they're quite small and they don't sort of stop you from looking into the room. They're just for sort of occasional seating and they look really beautiful as you walk in. Another big change we made in this room was removing some bifold doors that we had that separated these 2 reception rooms. And the reason we did that was because it really stopped us doing the furniture layouts that would work for our client and how they wanted to use the space. As I said earlier, they really wanted to have lots and lots of seating. So by keeping the bifold doors, we wouldn't have been able to have this sofa here or the bench on the other side. And our client loves the idea of having big gatherings. And so we've created this double living room space where you can have lots of different groupings. So if they have a party, you might have a gathering here, you'd have a gathering back there, but you're all still in the same space, so it's perfect for large scale entertaining. This is probably my favourite seating area in this whole reception room. We templated the curve of this bay window and we created this curved bench and we combined it with an antique table. And this is really an area where the clients can sit, have afternoon tea, maybe have small informal meals, and it's just mixing up the different types of seating. We didn't want to do too many sofas. We really wanted to think about how they might want to use this space. And for me, this is the perfect solution because you're slightly elevated and you can look out across the gardens. As always, the lighting was really important in this room. We wanted lots of beautiful layers of lighting, and the fixtures themselves were particularly important to our client. She wanted to have very glamorous, ornate chandeliers, and so we had these 2 in both the reception rooms, custom made for our client, and we even added extra crystals to make them even more glistening. We've then added onto that lots of layers of lighting with wall lights, table lamps, floor lamps, and even some cute little lamps that sit on each fireplace that give a nice little addition of light above there. Now, whilst we're looking at the fireplace, this was one of my favourite tricks that we did. Our client only wanted to have original artwork in this room, but we also needed somewhere to put the TV. Where the sofa that views the TV is quite far away, we were able to put it above the fireplace. If your sofa's too close, it can be a bit awkward, but as long as you've got enough distance, it's fine. So we created a custom painting that lifts up and reveals their TV. We had the artist actually directly paint onto the canvas to allow us to do that. And a lot of people have said it reminds them of the Banksy painting where it went to auction. I think it sold for about 14 million and then went straight through a shredder. Well, luckily this one didn't cost 14 million and it doesn't go through a shredder. What I think works so well about this room, and what I particularly love about it, is the fact that we've created this very grand, impressive room, but it's still supremely comfortable. And we've got so many little moments that you could just envisage the client enjoying, from this chessboard with the 2 armchairs. I can just see them having a lovely game of chess in front of the warm fireplace. And then if they're having a party, they've got the perfect feature over here through this joinery. We refinished all this and did a liquid bronze metal finish, which I think looks beautiful. But even better, they have a dumb waiter on the inside, so they can just push a button and have all their drinks and canapes delivered. The quality of the furnishings, fabrics and finishes was really important to our client, and especially with the rugs, they were really keen to know that they would be supremely luxurious. So we had these rugs all custom made and custom designed for this project. They were all made in Paris, and I love how we've got the different beautiful colours coming through, lots of different textures, from the flat texture of the main part, which is in a beautiful taupe, to the silky green olive tones in the pattern. Now, before we move on to the next room, I just want to give a moment to the accessories and the styling in this room. I think this whole project really shows how important that final styling and accessories is. If I had £1 for every time a client told me they don't want any accessories and then later changes their mind when they see it without, I'd be able to retire. So in here we have a beautiful array of objects, from photo frames, vases, even antique books that we've sourced for our client, right down to the artwork, boxes, candles. All of these items really make the house feel like a home and are so important. Off to the rear of the reception room, you walk through a small door and we are now in the study. And this study is quite unusual for the fact that there is no desk. The reason we didn't do a desk in here is all because of the client's brief. When you're designing a space, you shouldn't just do what you think is expected. You should design for how the client's going to use the room. And in here, this client only wants to use this space for Zoom calls. So you can see we've done a TV screen, which we've put into the joinery. And then in front, we have this lovely velvet sofa where he can sit, relax, and do Zoom calls whilst he runs all his businesses across the globe. Things that we've done in this room include refinishing all the joinery. As with all the joinery that we've retained throughout the house, we've refinished it. This was that same orange that we see on the floor, but we've stained it a lot darker. And then in this recess where we have the TV, we've lined this with an Emperador marble just to really add some more interest, more materials and luxury. And then I don't know if you can see, because we've hung art from the front of the shelves using these gorgeous poles and chains, which is something that you'll see repeated throughout this house. We've also done some linen herringbone wallpaper behind that. The reason why we've hung art from chains is we wanted to give that real sort of opulent feel, almost like a gentleman's club. And there really isn't that many wall spaces in a room like this. So without hanging the art from those chains, we wouldn't have had an opportunity to put art in here. Over this side of the room, like I said earlier, we've done a big sofa. We really wanted to maximize luxury in here, so we've gone for this gorgeous velvet on the sofa, and we've laid it with some beautiful cushions. I love this linen. The combination of linen and velvet for me is timeless. And we've even done a monogrammed throw with the client's initials over the sofa. To ensure that the room is useful for how he wants to spend his time in here, he loves to smoke cigars, so we've made sure we've done a really good over the sofa table, so you can have your ashtray there and sit back and relax whilst you're doing a Zoom call. Perfect. This property is very unusual in the fact that it has 2 primary bedrooms, which works perfectly for our client. This is the more masculine, I would say, of the 2 bedrooms, although it's still a great balance between feminine and masculine influences. The colour palette's a lot richer and darker than the other bedroom, but the starting point for the design scheme was this wallpaper, which is the magnolia canopy from our collection with Fremantle. Our client had followed us for quite a while and was very familiar with all of our collections and absolutely loved this chinoiserie collection and wanted as much of it as possible throughout the house. What I love about this colourway is that it adds so much character to the room. But when it came to the actual designing of this space, the biggest challenge we faced, which sounds unusual because it's such a big bedroom, but in some ways having too much space can challenge you in how to use the space. And when our client first bought this property, the bed, which is now behind me, was actually in this part of the room. And what I wanted to do during the design process with my client was explore all different layout options, because you don't necessarily want to go with what the previous owner or the builder has deemed the best use of the space. By moving the bed from this area to the back space of the bedroom, not only does it separate it from the entrance, which is in front of me. I never like to walk straight into a bedroom and see the bed immediately if I can avoid it. But it also allowed us to put a much bigger bed. Previously it was a Super King in this area, which was the maximum size that we could fit. But by moving it back there, we've managed to expand it to an Emperor size, which works really well for our client. With the floor plan complete and knowing where we were going to put all the big pieces of furniture, the next job was to choose the items themselves. And for the bed, with it being such a large piece in the room, I really wanted it to have maximum drama. We went for a ceiling mounted canopy. And what was really important to our client was that it didn't take up too much space. So we worked really hard to choose a fabric that would have very neat pleats and would sit very nicely against the bed, not billowing out too much like a ball gown. What I like about doing a ceiling mounted canopy as opposed to a 4-poster bed is when it comes to making the bed, you don't have to sort of fight with a post in the corner to make the bed and tuck the sheets in. Everything sort of moves out of the way quite well. And I think it's a slightly more contemporary take on a 4-poster bed. I knew in this room that our client loved antiques and that we'd have the opportunity to use some really beautiful rich wood antiques. And so I wanted to bring that colour across into this side of the bedroom. So we've gone for this very bold, I would call this colour rust headboard. And it's a really beautiful contrast against the softer, darker colours of the wallpaper. Isolated, it doesn't make sense. This isn't a normal colour combination that you choose, but when you see it as a whole room and you can see the beautiful antiques that we have throughout and the rich woods that we have on the bedside table, in context, it all really works. One thing that I get asked a lot about on this channel is what mattresses I recommend, and I really think it's important to invest in your mattress. It's not a truly luxurious interior if you don't have a good quality mattress and you're not getting a good night's sleep. So in this project and almost all of our clients' homes, we use vice spring mattresses, and I wanted to show you what that looks like. So we've got the pillow top here, and then underneath you can see the mattress itself. This is the Herald Superb mattress that we've gone for in all the bedrooms. It's supremely comfortable and it's filled with 100% natural materials. And what I love about this is it's such good quality and it's all made in the UK. And then look at the level of detail that you've got here as well. I love these little button details, so you can attach the topper and then you just button it up using this little button that's made of wood. So that is what is under all of the beds that you can see that are beautifully made in this property. At the end of the bed, we have this really compact sitting area, and we didn't need to worry about fitting too much seating in here, but it was more about making it a space that looked nice and of course was functional as well. Our client wanted to have a TV, so we mounted a TV above the fireplace, and we've finished it off with this beautiful liquid metal bronze frame. I don't really like seeing down the sides of TVs, so this was a really nice way to finish that off. And then for the furniture, we've gone for a matching pair of armchairs, and we've got a little reading light. And this makes perfect sense because you've got the open shelves with books. It's the perfect spot to sit down and read a book. And then as we walk across the room over to this side, this is the main sitting area. So here again, we've got another TV. Everything in this house is completely personalised to the client. Not many people would want 2 TVs in their bedroom, but this works for the client because Each room is almost like a mini apartment. They can sit here, it's like a sitting area, watch a movie, and during the day you don't really want to sit in your bed and watch a movie. So we've got a beautiful antique, and this was the colour that I was talking about earlier when I was looking at the headboard. You can see it really picks up those same rust tones, so the beautiful mahogany wood. And for the marble, we were delighted when we found this piece. I love choosing antiques because you get so much variety and it really adds like uniqueness to your project. And then we've taken that same idea of marble down onto the coffee table, but in a much more contemporary way. Love this coffee table. Again, it's a really interesting marble, slightly different, but it's got those same warm tones with the green. This is a Calicata viola, and it's much more simple and pared back with just the very sort of geometric shape and the thin metal legs. Behind the sofa, we needed to add another bank of wardrobes. There is a walk-in wardrobe, but it wasn't quite enough storage for our client. And so we decided to clad the front of the doors in the same wallpaper as the rest of the room, the beautiful magnolia canopy, and it helps it sort of disappear away. It would be quite unusual to have a sofa sat in front of, you know, wood wardrobes. It would look a bit clunky, but where this is such a beautiful backdrop, it makes much more sense. If you do love this wall covering, obviously it's available as a wallpaper, but if you would like to have a little bit of it, we also sell it as framed artwork, so I'll drop the link for that in the description box. And then we've finished the doors off beautifully. You can see each one has a bronze trim that runs around the perimeter of the door, and we've matched that to the handles. These are the Grove handles from our Armac Martin collection. I think they work so well with the wallpaper because obviously it's two natural references. For the wardrobes and joinery in general, there's always this mixed consensus about whether you should take them all the way to the ceiling or leave a gap. I like both options, but here we've decided to leave a gap and then do an LED strip to uplight it because it was another opportunity to add some soft lighting and some glow into this room. When it comes to wallpapering, and especially with something as special as this silk chinoiserie wallpaper, you need to make sure that you have an installer that really knows what they're doing, has got experience of having done it before. Don't just take their word for it, make sure you check that they really have installed wallpapers like this before, because it's not like installing a normal wallpaper. I remember having quite a few site meetings with the installers and the main contractor about this particular detail, because we knew we needed to wrap the wallpaper around the door. We didn't want to have a raw edge here, and I'm so happy with how they've executed this. What they did is they wrapped it around this front panel, and then they've added this trim here, so there's no way that this has a raw edge. It's not going to get frayed or damaged over time, and it just looks really pleasing. For the window treatments, when I've gone for a darker or a bold wall covering, I really love to do a pared back curtain. And I love how the ivory of this fabric pops against the wallpaper. And we've mixed up the fabrics because these are just dress curtains to add a sense of grandeur in the room, but it's the Roman blind that works. And I wanted to mix up the fabric so that there was a bit more detail. I think if there was a matching pair of curtains and a matching Roman blind, it would feel too plain, but this one has just the perfect amount of subtle pattern with the damask pattern on this. And then we've doubled that up with a sheer curtain, which is perfect when you're city living and you need privacy during the day as well as night. Nestled between the sitting area of the bedroom and the bed area of the bedroom, we have this dressing table, and it felt like the perfect placement because it's the first thing you see as you walk into the room. This is opposite the door. We've gone for a more contemporary design because I love mixing up the styles, and it sits really nicely against the antiques. For dressing it, we've gone for a Porta Romana light. This is one of my favourites. I love the elegant swan neck. A ornate mirror on the wall, and then we've added an extra mirror. This is from our Armac Martin collection, and this one's much more functional, so you can do your makeup and your hair in this one. We are finishing part one of this project tour up on the top floor, which is the kids' floor. Now, before I take you into one of the bedrooms, I just wanted to give a moment to this landing. I really love some of the playful furniture we've done here, like this chair, which looks quite simple from the front, but when you see it from the side, it's this kind of like folded design. And we wanted to make the most of the fact that this landing is quite large, so we've also done a big sideboard. So they've got extra storage for all their toys and a gorgeous antique map of London above. So let's get started in bedroom number one. these rooms are up in the eaves of this building. They have some sloped ceilings and sloped walls, and whenever I'm designing a room that has unusually shaped walls, I always like to do either a bold wallpaper or a colour paint, so it kind of distracts from all the different shapes and angles that you're getting, and it almost makes a feature of them. If I'm doing wallpaper, I also like to wallpaper into the recess of the windows. If there's any nooks and crannies, I think it looks a lot more considered than just having a feature wall or just doing the walls and forgetting about those small areas. This corner is a really good example of where we've done that. So you can see we've taken the wallpaper right in to the shelving area, and we've also gone through to the window reveal. So we haven't just done the front face of the wall, but we've gone in, and it looks so much more tailored. A little trick that I use when I'm designing kids' bedrooms and I want them to feel at once playful but sophisticated is using fun shapes in the furnishings. So here you can see I've used a bobbin framed mirror, which is really playful, and I love that. And then I've taken that same organic curved shape onto the headboard. Really love this shape. It's got a timber frame, and the boucle fabric also feels quite playful. It kind of reminds me of a teddy bear. And then these wall lights, I'll just switch these on, echo that same shape. So there's a lot of different shapes going on in here, but they all work together really well and give that playful element without feeling too childlike. We took inspiration from the local landscape of Hyde Park into the artwork. So we've used lots of botanicals for the artwork, and this really inspired the colour scheme as well. You can see we've taken those same green tones down onto the table lamps and the slightly warmer rust colours onto the headboard. And then same with the cushions, we've got lots of natural motifs, and this echoes around the room. Key ingredients that I always try and include in a child's bedroom, if there is space, is a shelving unit where they can store their books and toys, a desk area where they can do their studies, and then finally a little reading corner with a lovely armchair where they can sit and read and have a little relaxing moment. That's all we've got time for part 1 of this incredible project tour. We do have part 2 coming, but before I go, I just wanted to share some exciting news with you that I am launching an online design course this year. So if you would like to be one of the first people to find out about it, make sure you subscribe to our mailing list. I'll put all the information in the description box below. And also make sure that you've hit that subscribe button here, because in part 2 that's coming up very soon, we will be showing you the kitchen, the dining room, the family room, the second primary bedroom, because this property has 2, the nursery, and the second boys' bedroom. It's a great one. Make sure you don't miss out. Take care, and I'll see you very soon.